आरती करो वे ललिता आदि सखी गणा विशाखादि सखी गणा नाना राग गाया प्रिय नरमा सखी जटा चामरा ढुलाया जय जय राधा कृष्ण युगला मिलाना आरती करो वे ललिता आदि सखी गणा श्री राधा माधव पदा सरसिजाशे भक्ति विनोदा सखी पादे सुखे भासे जय जय राधा कृष्ण युगला मिलाना आरती करो वे ललिता आदि सखी गाना जय जय राधा कृष्ण युगला मिलाना आरती करो वे ललिता आदि सखी गाना हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल। Mataji, has speaker joined Mataji? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Not yet, Mataji. You can do it
I can do
for
Radha Madhav. Should I
2-3
continue?
more. Yeah.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava कुञ्ज बिहारी जय गोपीजनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातीरावनचारि यमुनातीरावनचारि हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपदा 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 जय प्रभुपदा जय गुरुदेवा 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 जय गुरुदेवा निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल। हर नाम संकीर्तन की जय, समस्त कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। हरे कृष्णा, दंडवत प्रणाम।
Hari Bol. Thank you, Deepa Mataji. Hare Krishna. Someone would like to do Kirtan for 2 more minutes. Mataji is joining. Anyone?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dhanyavad.
Yeah. Yes, Anasuya Mataji. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Can you all hear me, Mataji?
Yes,
Yeah,
Mataji.
yes. Hare Krishna Mataji, pranam.
This is Hare Krishna Pranam. I'm sorry, I just felt like it's 2:30. My timing.
Yeah, no issues, Mataji. Over to you. You can start.
Yeah.
Mataji, your video is not on.
Yeah, I'm just opening my verse here.
Yeah,
and then
okay.
It's a 10th one, 2:10:10, right?
Yes, yes, Mataji.
Okay, Matajis. Yeah. Start sharing. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaye Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
We're reading from Shrimad Bhagvatam, Canto 2, Chapter 10. Who knows the name of the Chapter 10? Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. Verse 10.
Yes, Mataji.
Purusho. Yes. Shall we recite? Purusho andam vinirpidya yadasho sa vinirgataha atmano yanam avinchinnam aposhashrashi. Anyone wants to recite?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Deepa Mataji, is it? Or Anusuya Mataji?
Yeah, Purushandam vinirvidya yada sausa vinirgataha atmanoyam anvichan aposrakshit shuchihi. Thank you, Mataji.
So the translation, someone wants to read? Deepa Mataji, would you like to read translation?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. After separating the different universes, the gigantic universal form of the Lord Mahavishnu, which came out of the causal ocean, the place of appearance for the first Purusha Avatara, entered into each of the separate universes, desiring to lie on the created transcendental water, Garbhodaka.
Yeah. Who wants to read the purport? It's a little bit longer one, but yeah.
Actually, can I continue, purport?
Yeah, please continue.
Yeah. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. After analysis of the living entities and the Supreme Lord Paramatma, the independent source of all other living beings, Srila Sukdev Goswami is now presenting the prime necessity for devotional service to the Lord, which is the only occupational business of all living entities. The Supreme Lord Sri Krishna and all his plenary portions and extensions of plenary portions are non-different from one another, and thus the supreme independence is in each and every one of them. In order to prove this, Shukdev Goswami, as promised to King Parikshit, describes herein the independence of the Purusha Avatara, personality of Godhead, even in the sphere of the material creation. Such activities of the Lord are also transcendental, and therefore they are also Leela or pastimes of the Absolute Lord. Such pastimes of the Lord are very conducive to the hearers for self-realization in the field of devotional service. Some may argue, then why not relish the transcendental Leela of the Lord as exhibited in the land of Mathura and Vrindavan, which are sweeter than anything in the world? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur replies that the pastimes of the Lord in Vrindavan are meant to be relished by advanced devotees of the Lord. Neophyte devotees will misunderstand such supreme transcendental activities of the Lord, and therefore the Lord's pastimes in the material sphere related to creation, maintenance, and destruction are very relishable by the Prakrita or mundane devotees of the Lord, as the yoga system, mainly based on bodily exercises, is meant for the person who is too much attached to the bodily conception of existence. Similarly, the Lord's pastimes related to the creation and destruction of the material world are for those who are too materially. Can you scroll down, please? Too materially attached. For such mundane creatures, the functions of the body and the functions of the cosmic world through physical laws in relationship with the Lord are also therefore included in understanding of the lawmaker, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The scientists explain the material functions by so many technological terms of material law, but such blind scientists forget the lawmaker. The Shrimad Bhagavatam points out the lawmaker. One should not be amazed by the mechanical arrangement of the complicated engine or dynamo, but one should praise the engineer who creates such a wonderful working machine. That is the difference between the devotee and the non-devotee. Devotees are always full with praising the Lord who directs the physical laws in the Bhagavad Gita 9.10. The direction of the Lord upon the material nature is described as follows. मयाध्यक्षेण प्रकृतिः सूयते सचराचरम् हेतुनानेन कौन्तेय जगद्विपरिवर्तते. The material nature full of physical laws is one of my different energies. Therefore, it is neither independent nor blind, because I am transcendently all-powerful. Simply by my glancing over material nature, the physical laws of nature work so wonderfully. The actions and reactions of the physical laws work on that account, and thus the material world is created, maintained, and annihilated again and again. Men with a poor fund of knowledge, however, become astonished by studying the physical laws, both within the construction of the individual body and within the cosmic manifestation, and foolishly they decry the existence of God, taking it for granted that the physical laws are independent without any metaphysical control. The Bhagavad Gita 9.11 replies on this foolishness in the following words. अवजानन्ति मां मूढा मानुषीं तनुमाश्रितं परं भावम् अजानन्तो मम भूतमहेश्वरम्. The foolish men Mudha do not know the personality of Godhead in his eternal form of bliss and knowledge. The foolish man thinks of the transcendental body of the Lord as something like his own, and therefore he cannot think of the unlimited controlling power of the Lord, who is not visible in the acting of the physical laws. The Lord is, however, Ataji, could you scroll down?
Sorry.
The Lord is, however, visible to the naked eyes of people in general when he descends himself by his own personal potency. Lord Krishna incarnated himself as he is and played very wonderful parts as the Lord himself, and the Bhagavad Gita concerns such wonderful actions and knowledge. Yet foolish men will not accept Lord Krishna as a supreme Lord. Generally, they consider the infinitesimal and infinite features of the Lord because they themselves are unable to become either the infinitesimal or the infinite. But one should know that the infinite and infinitesimal sizes of the Lord are not his highest glories. The most wonderful manifestation of Lord's power is exhibited when the infinite Lord becomes visible to our eyes as one of us. Yet his activities are different from those of the finite beings. Lifting a mountain at the age of 7 years and marrying 16,000 wives in the prime of his youth are some of the examples of his infinite energy, but the Mudhas, after seeing them or hearing about them, decry them as legendary and take the Lord as one of them. They cannot understand that the Lord, Sri Krishna, although in the form of human being by his own potency, is still the Supreme Lord with full potency as a supreme controller. When, however, the Mudhas give submissive and oral reception to the messages of the Lord, as in the Shrimad Bhagavad Gita or in the Shrimad Bhagavatam, through the channel of disciplic succession, such Mudhas also become devotees of the Lord by the grace of his pure devotees. And for this reason only, either in the Bhagavad Gita or in the Shrimad Bhagavatam, the pastimes of the Lord in the material world are delineated for the benefit of those men with a poor fund of knowledge. Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for reading, Mataji. So yeah, so in this section we are, those 10 subject matters were being discussed from the beginning of this chapter. So now we are at the point where Ashraya, that supreme shelter we are taking, the Supreme Lord. So, who is the cause of this creation and his maintenance and destruction, everything he is doing. And he is actually in the form of Paramatma, uh, and Parabrahma is residing. So, Paramatma in our heart, like that. So, that cause of all causes, creation, maintenance, destruction of the universe, that Krishna is a supreme ashraya we should take, and that has to be established with us. So that how this creation taken place is what we have to understand. The real understanding comes from how these different energies of the Lord has been, predominantly, created, and then how they are manifested, things like that. So in general, when you think about accepting that loss is very important, and according to the Shastra, whatever is given for us, which is verified, accepted by our acharyas, and everyone is following in the parampara, disciplic succession, this particular series of Lord's creation is being proven. So, in according to the modern scientist, if you and me would have studied in our schools, and also how this creation is just, we understand is so many theories are being propounded by the scientists. Some say Big Bang theory, and some there is a primordial. There is like kind of modern scientists nowadays. They are it's like a creation has come out of a soup, they might say like that also. There is some scientists, I don't know, but it is called primordial. It's like that. So anything you mix it and then it has come up like that. So there is a limited understanding when it comes to modern scientists. They are coming up with different theories and different understanding. But our scriptures, with the Shastric understanding, our scriptures have got the different purposes of how the creation is created. What is that? How is it created? So previous sections we understood, right, how in the Supreme Lord himself has taken various first incarnation is there, and then second and third, like that. From there he actually takes a form of Mahavishnu, 400 forms, and then he is laying down on a causal ocean. So this causal ocean is actually manifested, and there is a cause. In spiritual world, every substance has got a life in it. So this causal ocean, this ocean has also as a, it's a leela for the Lord to, to manifest. So this causal ocean is there and it is created, and Mahavishnu, he lies on this causal ocean as Narayana himself. And then he manifests, as 400 form, and manifests Krishna as a Narayana, and lying on this causal ocean is Mahavishnu, and he's lying down on this causal ocean. And a cause is a substance, because for everything there is a cause, and then so this cause is a substance, and there is a reservoir of water, which is an ocean, and in that causal ocean Mahavishnu is lying down, that Narayana in the form of Mahavishnu lying down. So just as we see water has a substance, water is a substance, just like water is there, like that this ocean of cause is a causal ocean is there, that is Karana ocean, causal ocean. So we understand this one is in terms of like that, this ocean is there, and then when Mahavishnu is lying on this ocean, he is actually with his inhaling exhaling process, he looks at the pradhan actually, when he lays down on this causal ocean, he looks at a pradhan, and then with his glance on the pradhan, that itself gets agitated, and this Mahat Tattva emerge. And then when he is actually glancing like that, and he with his when from his skin pores innumerable universes emerge. And then with his inhaling and exhaling process, skin pores, innumerable universes comes like that. In the causal oceans, just like bubbles come. When we take if we take our children to swimming or anything, if they go into the water to take breath, they have to release water from their mouth. So then only they will be able to continue swimming under the water. So when they do that, you do see the bubbles coming out. So it's like that, Mahavishnu with his inhaling, exhaling process, innumerable bubbles are coming up from this Garbhodaka ocean. So then, when it's like from these innumerable bubbles of these bubbles, each universe, it is like all of them are universes. So then in that each universe, each bubble, Lord himself enters as a Garbhodaka Vishnu. So when he enters into each and every universe, then in there, when he sees there is nothing there, he fills it with his perspiration. Half of it he fills with his perspiration, and then he lay down there. So when he lay down there, he's from his navel a stem sprouts, lotus stem, and then from the lotus stem, then a lotus emerge, and then in that lotus, Lord Brahma takes birth. He's the first engineer of this material creation, and all the elements have been given to him. And then with this, Krishna imparting, Mahavishnu imparting this knowledge, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu imparting knowledge into the heart of the Brahma, he starts mixing up all the ingredients with all these elements, and then all the living entities have been created. So if you hear all this, it will look like, it's like there's a Brahmanda, and then there's a navel, sprouts, lotus stem, and then Brahma taking birth. It's like a fairy tale if you're all hearing like this. But, we have an option either to accept this Big Bang theory or to take a shelter of the scriptures and understand the subject matter nicely. It's up to us. So in this purport, Prabhupada is actually giving us the information about the personality who is controlling the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has got controlling power of all the affairs of this material nature. So although, we have scientists creating so many other laws, like we have laws of gravity, laws of motion, laws of what is that Newton's third law of motion. For every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. This and all we have read. So these are all different lawmakers are there, and then but there is some origin, someone has made this law, right? So nothing will come out of by itself. There is something behind that. So there must be some law like that, Prabhupada is mentioning in this purport. So these lawmakers, there should be some lawmaker. In the first paragraph, we see, scientists explain material functions by so many technological terms of material law, but such blind scientists forget the lawmaker. So Srila Prabhupada points out that the lawmaker is there. So one should not be amazed. This is a mechanical arrangement of this, complicated engine. But one should praise that engineer who creates such wonderful working machine. So it's connecting us to that a platform where, being in this position of practicing devotees, one should acknowledge that how Supreme Lord is, engineered, and who is actually, created this entire cosmic manifestation with this multitude energies. So this is what we are trying to accept, because all the Shastra is evidence, we have got a lot of evidence proof by information here. So we are accepting that and trying to praise Supreme Lord, because he's directing all, according to Bhagavad Gita also in Prabhupada purport we see, Maya Dakshena Prakriti Suyatena Characharam. So material nature is full of physical laws, and it's all of coming from different energies of Supreme Lord. There is neither, therefore it is neither independent nor blind. So nothing comes out of by its own, because it's Krishna is, transcendentally all powerful. Simply by his glance at material nature, these physical laws are working wonderfully. So there's an action and reactions of the physical laws work on that account. So that's how material world is created, maintained, annihilated again and again. So therefore there must be a lawmaker, and the lawmaker, maybe, a government or a king or an institute. Like for example, we have in this mundane world, if there is laws are made by the government, and laws are made by the, if there is a kingly order is there, made by the king. And then some institutes are there, they have their own bylaws. And then there is some companies are there, then they have, proprietor or director, they also have got certain laws now. So but the question is that who is the lawmaker? If you cannot see that way, who is the lawmaker, then if you accept it doesn't exist, then that's not actually that's a problem for us. So we have to understand who is the lawmaker. So intelligent people take these considerations into account. So if you're intelligent enough, you don't just accept blindly, because it doesn't make sense. You have to understand that there is a lawmaker. So ultimate consideration is coming from understanding from whom it is coming, like that. So there is a Supreme Personality of Godhead and then he imparted this knowledge to Brahma, and then Lord Brahma imparted to Narada, and then Narada imparted to Vyasa. Then Vyasadeva has given this knowledge to Shukadev Goswami, and then Shukadev Goswami has, shared this to Parikshit Maharaj. That's how we are able to, by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, understand Srimad Bhagavatam, because this is all question and answers. So questions asked by Parikshit Maharaj and answers given by Shukadev Goswami. So that's how this Bhagavatam has emerged, by the instruction of Narada Muni to Srila Vyasadeva to compile this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is Amala Purana, and it is answer to all the questions. Succession was accepting this, and then following it, and then knowledge is flowing like that. So we have to understand that if this knowledge is flowing like that, if you don't, then it is Prabhupada saying, as per the purport, men with poor fund of knowledge, they are, astonished by studying the physical laws, both within this, the individual body and within cosmic manifestation like that. If they don't accept, then they don't accept the existence of God also. They take it for granted. These are independently, or, the happening, or out of nowhere it's coming like that. So Prabhupada classify them as foolish men, mudha, avajananti mam mudha. So they don't know the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his eternal form of, Sachidananda Vigraha, like, eternally bliss, happy and knowledge like that, So the foolish men think that, this transcendental body of Lord is something that his own. They don't think that there is a controlling power. They just unlimited. They don't, with limited understanding, with poor fund of knowledge, they can't understand this unlimited controlling power of the Lord, because he's not visible. We cannot see. So if it is visible to the naked eye to all of us, then it is, how do we understand the person, Lord's potency? We need to understand that, this is this information, this knowledge is flowing from the succession, and it is, transmitted and given to us by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Only we're able to read this purport in English. So this is knowledge is helping us to get out of this material bondage. And then, Srila Prabhupada is very renounced and magnanimous, and he's detached from this, opulence, whatever he has got, and he accepted this. So we have an example of, from this parampara of everyone, we have a Prabhupada also in front of us who has accepted all this and given to us in this simple English language. So we need to, never accept anything blindly. And the process of Krishna conscious is also not accepting anything blindly. So we should have, all the answers are, given in Srimad Bhagavatam. And if you understand, verify with this, the parampara has been accepting. If you understand from that point of view, you will be able to arrive this with whatever doubts you have. You will be able to seek the answers in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. That's what Parikshit Maharaj is doing in this point of time. So we all know that, we all have a simple experiment of science. You do, hydrogen and oxygen is mixed, will become water. We know this has been derived with the experimental learning, right? And the result is that. So now similarly, we see how these bodies, we have these bodies, they are there, and then suddenly we all know that we won't live forever, we'll die. What does it make us to die? Can anyone think of it? What makes us to die? So raising hands are going to answer, or just I have to ask someone to?
The mortal nature of our bodily life.
Yeah. Precisely what makes us to die? Why do we leave this body, and how? Like, how does the body leaves after so many, how many ever years we have got?
If we are not breathing,
We are
if we
destined
are
to
not
live for
breathing,
a certain number of years, Mataji.
Yeah.
So when the period is over, we have to go.
Okay. So why do we what makes us to understand the person is died? Like what's happening to that person?
if he's not breathing,
The consciousness is not there, Mataji.
Yeah, the consciousness is not there, the soul is not existing, like that. So we have to understand, okay, this is what is happening. Something is happening to the body, something is leaving from the body. That something is that soul is leaving the body. And then all other organs of the body automatically stop. Yeah. So, similar to that, in our mundane life also, when we are driving a car, suddenly, if the driver walks out of the car, then car doesn't run anymore. Yeah. So like that, soul is like, we have to think that, as long as soul is there, the body can run, walk, eat, sleep, drink, everything. But if the soul is not there, then body will not do anything. So we have to understand the difference between this, inert object and the living entity. So consciousness is what, it helps us, ability of thinking, willing, feeling, all that will come from consciousness only. So we have to understand this preliminary level is this, we have to understand how simple understanding is that. But if you go deeper into that, the just basic level is soul, and then body, and then matter is just this, soul is just belongs to another nature is what deeper understanding. Just a simple understanding is there's a soul, body, and then, that's it. And then there's a connection between body and the soul. And then the deeper understanding of the soul is that where does it belongs to? It belongs to actually another nature. Soul's destiny is different. How do you understand? Like, by this scriptures, if you read, you'll understand. There are so many prayers recited by Brahma in Brahma Samhita. There are a lot of glorification, you see. And then we have Shrimad Bhagvatam, we have Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna himself spoken. So, we have to take interest in these subject matters, and then that is real intelligence of all of us to understand that when a body destroys, then where does it is going? So while the whole creation is there happening like this, so then you have to understand that in that creation, see, each Brahmanda, when Garbhodaksha Vishnu is going in each universe, then there are 7 planetary systems above and 7 below, and then we are in the middle. We are there like that, and then all the living entities are there. Accordingly, they are destined, they are there. So then now out of this Brahmanda is what we have to go out to get out of this vicious circle of birth, death, old age, disease. And then that's where, unless we understand who am I and what is our relationship with the Supreme Lord, the serious students will go deeper into understanding these kind of questions. So Parikshit Maharaj is now trying to understand these kind of questions. So he's there, and he is with hearing to Shukadev Goswami, and he's trying to understand that, okay, Supreme Lord is the one who is complete control of creating, maintaining, and destroying. Now I like ordinarily we cannot understand. So Lord Krishna's multitude of energies, his potencies. If you don't understand Krishna properly, like then we will be these energies of this Krishna. If you don't understand, we are trying to not able to see the Krishna's potency in these energies. So we have to understand that Krishna's energies and Krishna's is the it's coming from Krishna only. So none other. So this material nature is also is the energy of the Lord, and He has created this with His glance, and then we all have got an opportunity to be in this material world, and then we have to understand now get out of this material world is important. So if you don't understand the Supreme Lord supremacy, then we don't hear these messages of the Lord from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, through accepting disciplic succession, then we will not be able to get out of this Brahmanda. So now, as a want to become a fool, be a fool or become an intelligent. So Prabhupada says that, Mudas, then even when any foolish person, if they accept the pages of Shrimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita in the disciplic succession, they get a mercy of a pure devotee. And from that, they will be able to understand the pastimes of the Lord in this material world. And then they will be able to get relieved from this material body. So this is very important. Otherwise, we will be just having with limited knowledge and poor fund of knowledge. We will not be able to understand how the creation of the Lord is happening, and how everything in this, how we are being entangled with different modes in this creation, mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So we are not able to understand. So we need to put our deeper understanding, we need to put interest into deeper understanding of this. Any intelligent person will do that. So if you and all, you, me, everyone trying to come to this platform of trying to read Shrimad Bhagavatam itself shows us we have certain extra effort we are trying to put, so that we want to go in deeper understanding what's the soul and how, where is it belong to, and what is the relationship of the soul with the Supreme Lord. This kind of things we are trying to understand. So this is Parikshit Maharaj's inquiry is coming forward to make us understand the unlimited potencies of the Supreme Lord. And if we take shelter of Shrimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, we'll be able to understand. All the questions will be answered in Shrimad Bhagavatam hereafter, as and when Parikshit Maharaj is answering. So here, this is, Mahavishnu entered into each of the universes, and after separating them, he entered into as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and he created Garbhodaka water, that is, with his own perspiration, he filled this Garbhodaka, that particular universe in with half of it with water, and then, he just lay down there, and with the message passed on to Brahma, started creating, and all the living entities have been created like that. So that is what is in this purport. Anyone has any questions or anything to ask? I think we have to go a few more verses also.
Yeah, Mataji, 3 more verses.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and ask, take the question anyone has got in the end. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do, Mataji.
Tasav avastit sit sa srishtasu sahasram parivatsaran tena narayano nama yadapaha purushodhava. Anyone wants to recite the translations? Okay, I'll read it. It's just a straightforward. That Supreme Person is not impersonal and therefore is distinctively a Nara or a person. Therefore, the transcendental water created from the Supreme Nara is known as Nara. And because he laid down on that water, he is known as Narayana. So this is a little bit we covered. We'll go to the next one. I'll cover it with the next verse. Anyone wants to recite?
Mataji, may I?
Challe Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Chandana Mataji. Yeah?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mataji, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Dravyam karma cha kalascha svabhavo jiva eva cha yadanugrahata santi nasanti yadupekshaya. Shall I read the translation also, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, and then I'll ask someone to read.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, you want to recite? Anyone wants to recite for translation?
Hare Krishna.
Challe Mataji.
Yes,
Mataji.
Yeah.
One by one, Prashanti Mataji, you can read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvat Pranam. Translation by Prabhupada Ki Jai. One should definitely know that all material ingredients, activities, time and modes, and the living entities who are meant to enjoy them all exist by his mercy only, and as soon as he does not care for them, everything becomes non-existent. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The living entities are the enjoyers of the material ingredients, time, modes, etc. because they want to lord it over the material nature. The Lord is the supreme enjoyer, and the living entities are meant to assist the Lord in his enjoyment and thus participate in the transcendental enjoyment of everyone. The enjoyer and the enjoyed both participate in the enjoyment, but deluded by the illusory energy, the living entities want to become the enjoyer like the Lord, although they are not meant for such enjoyment. The jivas, the living entities, are mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita as the Lord's superior nature or para prakriti, and so also it is mentioned in the Vishnu Purana. Therefore, the living entities are never the Purushas or the factual enjoyers. As such, the spirit of enjoyment by the living entity in the material world is false. In the spiritual world, the living entities are pure in nature, and therefore they are associates in the enjoyment of the Supreme Lord. In the material world, the spirit of enjoyment of the living entities by dint of their own actions, karma, gradually fades by the laws of nature, and thus the illusory energy dictates in the ears of the conditioned souls that they should become one with the Lord. This is the last snare of the illusory energy. When the last illusion is also cleared off by the mercy of the Lord, the living entity again becomes reinstated in his original position and thus becomes actually liberated. For this attainment of liberation from the material clutches, the Lord creates the material world, maintains it for some time, 1000 years of his measurement as stated in the previous verse, and then again annihilates it by his will. The living entities are therefore completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord, and all their so-called enjoyments by scientific improvement are crushed into dust when the Lord decides. Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvat Pranam. Thank you so much.
Thank you for reading, Mataji. So here it is clear that, with the Prabhupada's purport, we have to understand that, whatever material ingredients with all this, time, living entities are being created, and we are, meant to enjoy all of them. But this enjoyment is happening only by the mercy of the Lord. As soon as, he doesn't care for them, then everything become non-existent. So we are all enjoying in this material world, loading our material nature attitude is there, and actually Lord is a supreme enjoyer, and we are supposed to serve him. So these living entities are supposed to assist the Lord in his enjoyment, not we, by participating in through service in his enjoyment, we are supposed to be like that. But the enjoyer and the enjoyed both participate in that enjoyment. But what we are trying to do is, we are entangled with this material energy, which is this material nature. We are entangled with the three modes of material nature, and we are trying to enjoy ourselves independently. And that enjoyment is actually, making us, conditioned. And then we are forgetting that there is a superior nature, there is para prakriti, like that. And then we are thinking we are the actual enjoyers, but that is not the fact. We are enjoying in this material world is something. This material world is not false, but we are enjoying in this material world. So we need to understand that only by, spiritual world is there, and then in that living, all of us in the spiritual world are pure in nature. Soul is pure in nature, not conditioned. So then when we are in association, when we take the shelter of Supreme Lord and take mercy, get the mercy of the Supreme Lord, then only we won't get entangled in this loss of material nature, and then we will be able to get out of this illusionary energy. So Prabhupada says that when this last illusion is also cleared off by the mercy of the Lord, the living entities becomes reinstated in his original position. So unless you get the mercy of the Lord, or you realize that you need to get the mercy of the Lord, then you won't get liberated. So that attainment of liberated is required to get out of these material clutches. Otherwise, it's just, Lord creates this material world, he maintains it for some time, whatever time it is given, 1000 years, and then he annihilates it. And the living entities, again, what happens? They will also get back to, again, the process of, creation happens, and we get back to according to our past deeds and, kala, karma, everything. We just get into, again, new bodies, whatever we get. So therefore, we need to be completely dependent on mercy of the Lord. Then the so-called enjoyment of this, whatever is been, by scientifically proved, or scientific, accordingly modernization is happening, and we are trying to enjoy in this material world, that is actually crushed into dust when Lord desires, because when the annihilation happens, this is what happens. So nothing will be left for us. So we will again go back to a different body. So better to take the shelter of the Lord, so that we don't revolve around like this innumerable times. Just go to the Supreme Lord. So we have so many examples from the Shastra like that, how Parikshit Maharaj also, when he got cursed in the first canto, you all would have already read it. So he got cursed, and then when he got cursed, he didn't counteract how I got this curse, why should I get this curse, all that he didn't question. He just left his kingdom. He was a very noble king, and he was looking after a lot of citizens, and his family, his child, everyone he left, and then he went to, in search of understanding what am I supposed to do now. And then he came, and then while he was walking, all the sages followed him. And then he came across the bank of Ganges, and then Sukadeva Goswami was coming from the other side, and he started, Parikshit Maharaj had questions like, as a king, what am I supposed to do for the benefit of the citizens, and how am I supposed to live in this last days of my life, how to leave the body and how to leave the body, like that. Both things are there. So none of the sages were able to answer. And then Shukadeva Goswami at that point came, and everyone looked upon him, and he started narrating Shrimad Bhagavatam. And then that's how he got the answers to all his questions. And that's how we are reading through these pages of Shrimad Bhagavatam, and Lord's mercy is flowing through. And then he is enacted as as an associate of the Lord. Is enacted in this pastime to shower us mercy, so that we understand this transformation of the knowledge through the discussion happening between question and answers between Shukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj, like that. So then other pastimes, you see also how Hanuman used his anger in his saving Sita Devi, like that. And then how Prahalad Maharaj was protected in his womb. So there also, Narada Muni instructed to Lord Indira and, all his associates, where, no need to, don't kill Kayadu. I mean, they were actually trying to kill the baby in the womb of Kayadu. So this is, no, it's not right, because he's not a demon going to appear. He's going to, a Mahabhagavata is going to appear in her womb. So then Narada Muni took her to his ashram, and then that's where, he imparted knowledge to Prahalad in the womb when he is in the womb only. And then that's where, he understood that the purpose of, the spiritual knowledge is coming to him. And then when this Parikshit Maharaj, when he was actually, came to Shukadev Goswami at this point, when he was understood that in 7 days he's going to leave, he gave all the credit to his grandfathers. He says, because of them, I'm actually able to take the, shelter of here under your shelter. I'm able to understand, take this knowledge, get this knowledge, like that. So he is glorifying them. And then at the same time, if someone wants to, don't give the credit of where you are coming from, then it's going to be a problem. So you need to get a mercy. How you get a mercy? Give credit to someone who is giving you this information. So the subject matter is like, Narada Muni raised questions, and Parikshit Maharaj raised questions, and Shukadev Goswami is there to answer all the questions. So Parikshit Maharaj's role is asking questions, Shukadev Goswami answering. So one should, specifically understand this aspect of, what is my purpose here? Like through the Parikshit Maharaj pastime, we can understand, how he is taking us through. And then Krishna is, revealing his subject matter through Shukadev Goswami in the parampara, like that. So we have a lot of pastimes like that. I have a time constraint to share. There's many things, like when Ashwatthama released his Brahmastra, also how Parikshit Maharaj himself was protected in the womb of Uttara. And then there he was constantly looking for the mercy of who is that person who protected him. He was constantly looking and trying to figure out, is this that person? Is he who came, and he's looking for that yellow dhoti? Where is it coming from? Like that, everywhere he is looking like that. So this is what, depending on the mercy of the Lord, he was there all the time. So he has got those things, but he is giving all the credit to his grandfathers and everyone, but not himself understanding, oh, I am understood all this. I got already mercy before. That's why I'm able to come and take the shelter of Shukadev Goswami, so I can be able to get answers to my questions. It's not thinking like that. So many incidences are there in the past times of Shrimad Bhagavatam only. So we understand how we have to depend on the Lord's mercy, so that the so-called enjoyment is there in this material world is just not actually helping us to go anywhere. So like Prabhupada said, that they are just crushed into dust when Lord desires. So better to be mindful that we don't get entangled in this material world, like that. Yeah. So Parikshit Maharaj got relieved in 7 days. He went back to Krishna like that. And then we have Katvanga Maharaj, 24 minutes only. He just purified his life like that. So these elements are there. What is our main thing in understanding is that everything we see, but we see in the energies of the Lord as Lord only. And then you get the mercy of the Lord like that, accepting everything is created by the Lord. And then we don't separate the Lord from his energies. And then, then that way we will be able to see the potency of the Lord in everything. Otherwise, we will see, if it's separated, you see it's an important thing like that, but it is not like that. So everything has got potency of the Lord, and all the energies are coming from Lord, and this material world is created by the Lord. But the purpose of it is that he is helping us to understand how to go back to him with taking shelter of these scriptures and taking his mercy and like that. So he is there. He is giving causeless mercy to us, but we have to be ready to accept it, not just mundane scientific achievements are happening and advancement is happening in this material world. Just surrender to that. Just surrender to Krishna and take his shelter, and then you get causeless mercy of Krishna. So like that, he is laying on this causal ocean as Narayana, and he is continuously giving his limitless mercy for all the living entities. So that is what we have to understand. Krishna is a supreme living entity, and out of his causeless mercy only is giving this limitless, unlimited energies are coming, and then this he is giving limitless mercy for us to understand. So continuously this through parampara knowledge is flowing for us to accept and surrender and take guidance and depend on the mercy of the Lord. So lot of everyone if you go through the pages of Bhagavatam, you will understand how all the devotees, they are showing with their example how to take shelter of the Lord and take his mercy like that. Yeah. Shall we go to the 13th one?
Yes, Mataji.
Ekonanatvam anichan yogatalpat samuttitaha viryam hiranmayam devo mayaya vyasarjat tridha. Anyone wants to recite the translation?
Yes, Mataji. Can I read?
Yes.
Ekonanatvam anvichin yogatalpat samutita viryam hiranmayam devo mayaya vyasrujitrita. The Lord, while lying on his bed of mystic slumber, generated the seminal symbol golden in hue through external energy out of his desire to manifest varieties of living entities from himself alone. Purport.
Prabhu, purport Divya Mataji can read.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranams. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.78, the creation and annihilation of the material world are stated as follows. Sarva bhutani kaunteya prakritim yanti mamikam kalpakshaye punastani kalpadau visrajamyaham prakritim swam avashtabhya visrijami punah punah Dutagramam imam krishnam avasham prakritervashat. At the end of each millennium, the creative forces, namely the material nature and the living entities who struggle in the material nature, all merge together into the transcendental body of the Lord. And again, when the Lord desires to manifest them, all of them are again displayed by the Lord. Therefore, the material nature is working under the control of the Lord. All of them under the agency of material nature and under the control of the Lord are thus repeatedly created and annihilated by the will of the Lord. As such, before the creation or manifestation of the material cosmic world, the Lord exists as total energy, Maha Samashti. Excuse me. And thus, desiring himself to be diffused to many, he expands himself further into multi-total energy, Samashti. From the multi-total energy, he further expands himself into individuals in three dimensions, namely Adhyatmic, Adidaivic, and Adibhautik, as explained before, Vyashti. As such, the whole creation and the creative energies are non-different and different simultaneously. Because everything is an emanation from him, the Mahavishnu or Mahasamashti. Nothing of the cosmic energies is different from him, but all such expanded energies have specific functions and display as designated by the Lord, and therefore they are simultaneously.
Oh, I lost you.
Mataji, you are.
I
Yeah.
lost you, Mataji.
Sorry, Mataji.
Simultaneously.
The living entities are also similar energy, marginal potency of the Lord, and thus they are simultaneously one with and different from him. At this, Mataji, do anyone else want to read, Mataji?
Yeah. Anyone wants to read?
Krishnamurti Prabhu.
Krishnamurti.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji. Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. At the stage of non-manifestation, the living energies remain potent in the Lord. And when they are let loose in the cosmic manifestation, they are exhibited differently in terms of different desires under the modes of nature. Such differential manifestations of the living energies are conditional states of these living entities. The liberated living entities, however, in the Sanatana, eternal manifestation, are unconditionally surrendered souls, and therefore they are not subject to the conditions of creation and annihilation. So this creation takes place by the glance of the Lord from his bedstead of mystic slumber, and thus all the universes and the Lord of the universe, Brahma, are again and again manifested and inhalated. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So here, what I was been going through telling you how this, millenniums, how these living entities are created, how the creation and annihilation of material world is created. Mystic slumber is Krishna, Mahavishnu in the form is in the Yoga Nidra. And then from in that position, is just by his glance only, that is, all the, with the glance, all the living entities are created in that, the process of how I explained before. That is how it's happening. So this material nature and the living entities are constantly struggling. They are all, they're all in the transcendental body of the Lord. But again, when Lord wants to manifest, they all are displayed like this. So material nature is completely working under the control of the Lord. And then there's the agency of material nature, Durga Shakti, she's controlling here, this material world. And then we are being created and annihilated like that. So this creation and manifestation is complete cosmic manifestation is total energy. That is Mahasamsti, that is complete energy of the Lord. So this is expanding of the Lord. And then this expansions of the Lord is happening multi-dimensions, and then 3 dimensions individuals, himself in further expands into individuals, Krishna said. So in 3 dimensions it's happening Adhyatmic, Adidaivik, and Adibhautik. So this whole creation and these energies they're all different and at the same time non-different also, because it's coming from Mahavishnu, and then it's different from him because he's not getting affected with any of this. Though he is there creating, he's not getting affected. He's aloof from it. And then these separate energies are there working under his direction only. And then we are entitled in, living entities are, a marginal potency of the Lord, and we are simultaneously one with him and different from him, because everything is coming from him. And then, when the unmanifested stage is there, at that stage, we are with him. And then when manifested stage, we are just out of it. So living energies, are under the control of the Lord. When the cosmic manifestation dissolve, annihilation happens, and we all will again enter into this Mahavishnu, like how the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, we all started the living entities started coming in that particular one universe, and again every one of us will, along with all the universe, will dissolve into the Mahavishnu only. So that this other than, we are all conditioned. As long as we are conditioned, then we will again come back when the again creation happens, and we'll come back. But when the liberation state happens, then we were no more conditioned, and then no more suffering will be there. We will be surrendered souls, and then like that we won't have any subject to the creation and annihilation. Then the again creation. So this is a continuous process of creation taking place. From his bed state of mystic slumber means where Mahavishnu in the Yoga Nidra form, like that, and innumerable universes coming, and then Brahma is again, manifested and annihilated like that. So when these bubbles are coming now, so these bubbles are different dimensions also. So some bubbles may be small, some bubbles may be big. Like, there is children playing this thing now, they'll have a what is that, that bottle where we have that foam, and then you just keep doing. So sometimes it will come small, sometimes it's come big. So it's like that. And each bubble, when Brahma is also taken birth, it doesn't mean that all bubbles in each bubble, every bubble Brahma is only having 4 heads. In some of the bubbles, Brahma will have more than 4 heads, sometimes 16 heads, sometimes 18 heads. Some of them will have 100, 1,000, 10,000 is like unlimited, like that, So it keeps on going like that. So, and then we also have like in this material world, so it's like a Lord is in the Yoga Nidra form, but we as a, material body we have, we are also carrying forward this body, and then during the, mode of passion and mode of ignorance is there. In the passion time, we are actively engaged in something or the other for our, keeping body and soul together. When they are in a ignorance state, we are sleeping. So when we are sleeping, we are inactive. But when again we come back to activeness in the mode of passion, we continue to do that. So in totality, what I'm trying to say is that the Yoga Nidra form of the Lord is just like that consciousness of ours where we are sleeping mode, but it's actually Lord is, when he glances, then everything got activated like that. So we are in this material world, and we are trying to, when we wake up, then we are trying to understand that we have to get freedom from this bondage and that burden of this body. And then that is ultimately, getting rid of attachment to this material body. And we have to rejuvenate our relationship with the Lord. Otherwise, we will kept under the shelter of Maya, and then we will be under illusion. We will keep on going like that. So in this way, living entities are, we are all burdened with this body, and we cannot do anything until we understand, how to come out of this mode of passion to, mode of ignorance to mode of goodness. So mode of goodness will come only when you intelligently use your abilities, or use your senses in serving the Lord. And then if you do like that, then we will be in the coming out of no more mode of passion and ignorance will be troubling us, and we no more will be in such a feeling of needs to sleep or things like that. So when we are active in that mode of goodness position, we will try to purify our conditioning state, and then we won't be no more entangled in this material world. And then slowly we will come out of that state, and then we will surrender to the Lord, and we will the more we are active in this material nature, the more we are inclined to in that sleep mode like that. So mode of goodness doesn't activate or doesn't rejuvenate. So living entities, we are, Yoga Nidra form of the Lord is like he is in the transcendental sleep. So living entities, we are not like that, but out of ignorance, we are completely entangled in this material nature. But we need to understand that this material nature is the creation of the Lord, and living entities are, trying to come out of this only by understanding absolute nature of Lord. So we have to come out. So Krishna is in this, Mahavishnu is in the meditative state of like that. So when we get into the aspect of performing devotional service and trying to perform this devotional service, we will be in come to the state of we hear, so some to the state of samadhi. So in that state where you are, it's a same state like how we hear this Supreme Lord in this Yoga Nidra state, like that we are also. So this state, no one knows what they are doing. In Prahlad Maharaj incident also, like when he is totally absorbed in taking the names of the Lord, he don't know whether he is eating, whether he is sleeping, or whether he is getting punishment also. He is not actually able to feel it. So it's like that state. So material nature is not false, but we have to understand it's only temporary. But we have to actually try to get out of it, so that we understand the absolute reality. And then spiritual world is where there is a reality, where is a permanent thing is there, and then Mahavishnu is glancing this material nature, and then everything is coming out like this. But Krishna is only seed giving father for all of us, and then living entities, unmanifested form will manifest, and then we have to think that at that time when we manifest, and we think we are we want to enjoy in this material world, like that we try to explore so many things, and then like that when we are trying to explore so many things, first thing comes out of is in our false ego, and then intelligence will, and then mind, all these subtle bodily elements will start coming, and then the consciousness will be there, and then the consciousness starts flowing, and through the consciousness only that our eternal nature will start. That gross material body will emerge with earth, water, fire, ether, sky, air, all that. In this way, living entity is actually getting trapped with material nature. So we need to come out of that, and then we need to accept that actually there's a reason for us to be here, but we need to come out of here, go out of this place. So there are different, higher planet, lower planets are there according to our pious deeds. Either we go to upper planets or lower planets, but ultimately when we want to go to the Supreme Lord, that's where we have to completely, dedicate our life, instead of exploring in this material nature, dedicate ourselves and come out of this material nature, and take the shelter of the Lord, and go back to him. So that's where he's eagerly waiting for us to go, and then he will be happy to see us there. So rather than entangled like this, and continuously taking birth after birth like this. So this process of creating universes, when maintaining an annihilation is keeps on going actually. So there is it's a continuous process, every time it's going on. So but we need to understand that this is not what we aim of our life. So yeah, we have to come out of this suffering, and then go take shelter of the Lord, and he will take away all of our sufferings like that. So this is a lot of technical aspects is there in the second canto. I didn't want to explain too much in technical things, so I just thought simple words I will discuss. So if anyone has anything to add or
Mataji,
share.
one more shloka to go, 14th as well. It
Oh,
just
yes.
has translation.
Okay, yeah.
Devotees, just 2 to 3 minutes. Mataji has joined late, so maybe we will wind up by 10:45. Mataji,
Yeah.
4 minutes to go by Indian
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
No problem. Adi Daivam Adi Atmam Adi Bhutam Iti Prabhu Atyaikam Purusham Viryam Tridabhyeta Tachrunu. Tridat Abhyatha Tachrunu. So translation, just hear from me how the potency of his lordships divides on 1 into 3, called the controlling entities, the controlled entities, and the material bodies in the manner mentioned above. So so controlling entities, controlled entities, and the material bodies. So different energies of the Lord divided like this. So anyone has anything to ask?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Mataji, verse number. Okay, 1 second. 12.
12.
In purport, Prabhupada used the word. The living entities are therefore completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord. And all their so-called enjoyments by scientific improvement are crushed into dust when the Lord desires.
Yeah.
My question is, we people in the material world, we were acting like anything. We are all dependent on the mercy of the Lord. We are, for majority of the people, we including myself also, we are not aware when we will be crushed into dust.
What was the second part of it? When we will be crushed into dust. Okay. So when we will be crushed into dust means when we surrender to this, whatever material advancement is happening now, this enjoyment by scientific improvement. So we see so many, every year you see, like, for example, we have these gadgets. The gadgets are every year there is some upgrades in that. So we are just entangled in these kind of enjoyments in this material world created by so-called scientists or intelligent people. We have doing different things, like Elon Musk is there. He's come up with what is that car which drives on with electricity, right? No fuel is required. So and then he may come up with some other ideas like this. So we are surrendering to such kind of things and trying to enjoy with that, and then we are getting away from the Lord, completely forgetting where we are and who we are and what are we supposed to do. That is what, everyone is, not many of us actually dependent on Lord's mercy. What is dependent on Lord's mercy means? It's just not, to get this thing, that thing, we are praying to the Lord and get it. That is not depending on Lord mercy. The depending on Lord mercy is complete surrender. So it means that, I don't want anything from this material world. Whatever is being provided by the Lord, He is facilitated kindly to all of us. So many things, unlimitedly He is providing. But we are exploiting this material nature and just enjoying without understanding that this is not the purpose of our human form. So if you understand that the purpose of a human form of life, then we seek the mercy of the Lord in a different way. That different way is ahaituki apratihata. We don't expect anything in return to get these things to enjoy. We only want to serve the Lord, like in earlier verses mentioned. So only to assist here only. See, the Lord is a supreme enjoyer, and the living entities are meant to assist the Lord in His enjoyment and participate in the transcendental enjoyment of everyone. So we are not, Lord is the enjoyed. We are not enjoying. We are only participating in that enjoyment to make Him happy. So for His pleasure, we have to do whatever activities we do. For doing that for His pleasure only, we have to take mercy of the Lord. Not for enjoying other things in this material world and depending on His mercy for that. Yeah?
Yes, Mother. Yes. I got the point. Understand. Thank you, Mother.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Bol. So shall we end the session?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll do Vaishnava Pranam.
Yeah.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnavindi ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Thank you.
Thank you to all the
Thank you,
devotees.
Mataji.
Happy Devi
Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Thank you so
Krishna,
much.
Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Happy Ekadashi to all.
Oh, thank you. Happy Ekadashi.
Same to you, Mataji.
We have tomorrow, but yeah, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol. Okay, Mataji. Shall I end the session, Mataji?